Hi guys, we are going to start drawing a still life. Still life is a drawing of inanimate objects that do not move and do not include people or buildings or landscapes. Inanimate means non-living. Okay, I know that there are some that have flowers in it, but we're still talking about non-living things. Okay, flowers can still be in a still life. So let's draw the four basic forms, the still life that you see on page, I think it's slide 16, okay? That is the still life we're going to draw right now. Trying to make my box smaller so that I can see that still life so I know what we are talking about. Okay, yes, it is on slide 16 right here. Okay, so with this still life, you see on your far left side, there's a cone. Then we see a sphere that's overlapped by a cube right here in front. And then we also see a cylinder back here. Okay, in this artwork, we don't have a horizon line. A horizon line is a line that goes on the horizontal axis behind an artwork, but here we don't see that, but we do see the shadows. So it's really important today that you also draw these shadows in. So the first object that you should start with is the cone, because the cone is not overlapped by anything and it is just right over here. So we're going to draw a very skinny A to start that cone. What we're going to start doing is gesturing, okay? So I am gesturing the shape of this A in, okay? And I'm just going to keep looking back at the PowerPoint to make sure that I'm happy with where I've put this cone and I'm happy with the width that I'm giving it from the top to the bottom, all right? And I'm still drawing very, very lightly so that I can erase. And then I'm just going to look at it and curve this bottom around, okay? Then we're going to come back to that because we may have to adjust in a moment, all right? The next thing I'm going to do is put the sphere in the background. I'm going to look at the sphere and notice that it does not come to the top of this cone, okay? It actually doesn't even hit on the same horizontal line that the cone hits the bottom of the page that it's sitting on, okay? It hits right about here. And let's say it goes to almost the top of the cone, goes about here. So I have given myself a place to put the cone, the sphere. So if I look over here at the cone, I'm going to look at the negative space that's made between where the sphere comes and where the cone is. So there's a line here, and the cone's going to hit right here, and that it comes over. So if we know that we are symmetrical, it's a ball, it's like right over here. So I've given myself a nice circle that I can make a grid to draw my cone in, my sphere in. I hope I do not mess up saying these forms too much. I get tongue-tied when I start talking about all these forms and I call them the wrong name. Okay, see how nicely I was able to plot that in there because I use some sighting techniques there. Okay, now for this cube. I'm going to continue to look at the relationships between the objects. All right, so let's look at where the cube hits the bottom, okay, of the page. I can see that the back line of the cube is actually looks like, if I draw an imaginary line on the PowerPoint slide, or even just take my pencil and line it up, I can see that the cube, this back line of the cube, is hitting on the same spot where this cone hits the bottom of the table, the page, okay? And it dissects the sphere right about here, right about that much, okay? Okay. Now, this is the back bar of my cube, all right? So I know that this is the back side of my cube. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that on out as far as I want to. Okay, this is where the back face of my cube hits, but where does the front face of my cube hit? Okay, I'm going to draw it on out. I'm going to use a little sighting technique to see that and get this angle in. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that when I draw this line going out, that it is parallel to this line. So what did we learn earlier? Take your line, go over it lightly, and you may want to hover your pencil just so you know what diagonal you're drawing. Maybe do it again. Okay. And now let's see where this front parallel line is going to hit. Okay. Let's go back to our sphere and say, if this is the edge of my sphere, okay, I'm going to erase all the other lines that I've gestured in. If that's the edge of my sphere, where is this line in relation? So if I imaginary take a line up and see, I feel like it's about right here. So if this one is straight down, then I'm going to draw this straight down. Okay, so I have drawn this wonky looking face of this cube without even having to just draw it itself. Okay, do you see how I've used different sighting techniques to make sure I drew that? And now I'm going to take this intersection and go straight across like this one does. Still looking at the relation to the objects, I'm going to see about how much distance is left between where my sphere ends and where my cylinder over here begins. But to do that, I need to erase this line because these lines here are no longer needed and they are hurting my vision when I look back at my drawing. Okay. So when I look at the PowerPoint to see where this cylinder begins and how much space is left, I see that it ends, my cylinder is going to start right here where my cube ends. Then I'm going to go, because you can see right now, if I make that straight, I am not at all parallel, am I? So I'm going to erase that. And I'm going to get my muscle memory. I'm not even tracing it. I'm just looking only at this line and making my hand move. And I'm going to move it over, make it move again, check myself. I'm going to use this sighting where I line up my pencil with this line, then I'm going to move it over, and they are accurate, okay? Then I know I'm going to come straight down. And I think it's much easier for me to go this way. I turn my page. And what I'm doing is I'm taking my hand and moving it straight down. Now this is a little wonky. So I'm going to make sure that I have this angle nice and crisp right here for myself. And then I'm going to plot this in, making this longer than it needs to be. Okay. And from here, I can fix it up. And since I'm drawing lightly, you know I can go back in and erase all these guidelines that I have drawn. And now I'm able to draw in my cylinder. So once again, I'm going to look at my sphere and where my cylinder should be and where my cone is. It looks like the back of my cylinder is just a little bit taller than where my cone resides, the height of my cone line that I have here. And I know that this is the edge of my cylinders. It actually comes over just a tiny smidge. So I'm going to make a straight up line. Okay. And now I'm going to make it down. because I can go through, because I'm drawing lightly, so I can erase everything I need to erase. And then I'm going to look at where does this bottom come. If this is the midpoint of the cone, the cube, where does the bottom of my cylinder hit? And it's just below the half point. So I'm going to make a straight line just below the half point, and then I can curve it on out and make that smiley face. And if I have to go off the page, I have to go off the page. And if this is the back of my guy, I'm gonna make it, and I am going off my page, that's okay. Notice how I don't want a point here, but I want a nice round. See how I took that from a V to a rounded area? If you look at your sphere, your cylinder, see I'm doing it, you will also see that, okay? So now what I have is a nice drawing of this still life with the 4 basic forms, but I need to clean it up, okay? So I'm gonna snap a quick picture of this for you guys. And then I'm gonna clean it up. So let me snap my picture. Oh, that's awkward, isn't it? Well, that's okay. Mama. Yes, I am. Now, you also all know, hold on, please, that I'm home because I'm here with my son. So make sure I get a good shot. Yeah, what happened? I don't know what that means. You have to give me a second, okay? I'm gonna put this back up here, and now I'm gonna show you how we're gonna take this to our final drawing. So what we have here is a lot of light marks, but we have too many extra marks. So take your cap eraser or a big eraser if you have it still in your art kit, and just start erasing these lines. And then I know that this is my actual sphere. Cute. Oh, what is this thing? I was right. Sphere. Yeah, I was right. So plot these in just so. I'm still not drawing with heavy pressure. I'm still using light to medium pressure here. Okay. And now you will erase all of these extra lines. Get my cone drawn in. Nicely. My cube drawn in nicely. You may have to turn your page here to draw these lines nice and straight. Totally acceptable. And I know we're going to clean that line up, so I'm not worried about it. Same thing with my happy cylinder here. I have a lot of things around me, but what I do not seem to have is a large eraser. Hopefully, nope. I think I have one here actually. Let me open it. I think I may have just been better to use the small eraser than trying to find a big one, because I can't seem to get it open, guys. Oh my goodness. How many minutes does it take Miss Gilbert to open the eraser? Okay, there we go. Again, now, you know how I am about the eraser. I like to keep it flat, 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 so we keep a nice edge when we need to erase any edges we can, but I still I'm a little crazy about using my big erasers flatly, and I like to still go in with the cap eraser when I need to get like in this area right here. I'll use a cap eraser. And if you notice, even my cap eraser, I don't go down on, okay? Because that just ruins the integrity of your eraser. You're not able to do a lot of things with it like you are when you keep the integrity of the eraser and you keep these nice sharp points, okay? You don't want to go straight flat down, okay? That hurts your eraser's ability to work the best for you. So it's not just about having the right tools. It's about knowing how to use those tools because we're using real basic stuff here, okay? It's just knowing how to use them to your advantage. And because I've drawn nice and light, that is why I'm able to erase all of this out. And you saw me switch erasers, cap erasers there, and that is because that one was a little bit too flimsy to go as fast as I needed it to for my video. And I guess I could speed it up, but guess who's not that tech savvy? Me. That's who. Me, that's who. Okay, I feel like I did a lot of monkeying around with this cone. May have shifted it over more than I needed. That's okay. Okay, now that I've got most of those lines erased, you look back at your drawing and you are going to put in, I want you to put in the darker lines. As you can see where, don't want you to shade, I just want darker lines put in where the cast shadow starts. And I want to see you guys plot these shadows in. I'm even gesturing these shadows in. That's fine. You will notice the darkest area on these forms is where it hits the table, okay? It's a little bit dark. This one gets pretty dark. And it's also kind of got a strange little cast shadow. And we're just not going to see too much of our cylinder there because it goes off. So this is what I want to see from you guys. Clean it up in the end, and I will post a picture of mine cleaned up when I'm finished. But you will do 4 of these today. Good practice.